What's up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. And finally, it is time for another video right after coming home from our contest prep holiday. So we went for pretty much the second half of July to Portugal to, of course, do my show. But right now, it's time to get back on track for another one. Okay guys, this is the third set, and this is what I like to call the back off set. So this is usually a weight that is up until 20% lighter than the heaviest weight. So all I did is remove 2 plates of 5 kilos. Now it's a lighter weight, and we're going to aim for around 15 reps. I'm not sure I'm gonna make it because my strength right now is a guessing game. As I just get out of a contest, your strength is always different, but this is a way to get stronger in every single rep range. So we did a medium heavy, the heaviest set, and now the lightest set. So let's go. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to do another show in 4 weeks, so at the end of the month, and I'm very excited. As you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have known I posted something in my feed that said that I never did another show after having completed one. So I always have done one show and then call it pretty much a day to go to the off season. The only exception would be in 2018 when I won my pro card in March, won a pro show in July, and then did the Olympia in September. But the time in between was a bit longer, of course. So right now there's only 4 weeks in between, really. All right, so the second exercise is an amazing one. So it's the same lat pull down pulley, but because there's 2 cables, we can actually use 2 different handles to make it a very different movement. We're also using this bench as a chest support, allowing us to really contract the back here. So this is going to be first working set. Of course, I'll be making a lot more videos regarding my diet and my strategy towards the show. And if you want to know exactly what I am planning to improve, watch my latest or last video when I went over all the contest pictures. Now there are a lot more high definition pictures, however, which I'm very pleased with, the best shape I've ever gotten. But in the end of the day, this video is about a back workout. So the first exercise was a hammer grip pull down, wide grip. Did 3 working sets in total, only showed you 2. That felt amazing. That's truly a pull down exercise. And this one is more of a rowing exercise because we're sitting further away from the pulley, so it's not exactly a pull down. So I like to call it a high row. And this double cable machine is amazing because it allows you to use 2 different handles unilaterally, which feels just amazing. And what's very important here is to use full range of motion, which you can see clearly here, and that's where the chest support of the bench really helps, because I can go all the way up without having to worry about my body shifting in any way at all. So I go all the way up, stretch the lats to the max, and then go down as well. So this works the upper back thickness but also the lats at the same time. So it's a very nice exercise that very nicely shifts the workout from a pull down exercise to a rowing exercise. So I always like to do something like this when possible in between a pull down and a row. Another example would be the V-bar or the narrow grip pull down, which I arch my back quite a lot, allowing for me to make it a movement like this, kind of like a combination of a pull down and a row, readying my back for the rowing movements that come after. Because I've made a lot of improvements in the back, and it's not because of a pull down, it's because of all the rowing I've been doing and the weights I've been using during the rowing and the lifts I've been logging and getting stronger at them. Trust me guys, we are bodybuilders, but at the same time we want to get stronger, which is exactly why I am logging all of these working sets, which you should all do. Log the sets you go to failure with, and next time you want to beat the amount of reps that you do. So this is going to be the wide grip seated row, the first rowing movement. Now this is just a simple warm-up set. I'm just showing you a few just to show you guys exactly what my warm-ups look like. It's only 5 reps and the weights go up incrementally until I reach the weight that I'm doing as a working set. So the warm-ups are literally just to warm up the back in the exact movement that I'm about to do for the working set. So basically letting my muscles get used to the weight until I reach the weight I can only do 10 to 12 reps with. That to me is the best way not to waste any energy, because you're not going to build any muscle on the warm-up sets. You will build the muscle on the working set. So you want to keep all the energy available to squeeze out just that extra rep or half rep on that working set, because that is what builds muscle. Okay guys, it's time for a cluster set, and that means that I pick a weight I can do around 12 reps with, at least with perfect form. And I'm going to do a cluster set, which means 5 reps every set with 15 seconds in between until I reach failure on one of those cluster sets. What we use is a stopwatch, so I'm putting, and just turn it on, count with this for 15 seconds in between sets. When it hits 15 seconds, I start again until failure is hit. So let's do it. Alright, so this is called a cluster set, as I just explained, and it's really an amazing tool to use, not only to make the workout more intense, but also to increase caloric demand of your body. So just to repeat real quick, you're going to pick a weight you can do 10 to 12 reps with, then only do 5 reps at a time, pretty much for as many sets as you can until the set fails, and then the cluster set is done. Some people like to do 4 sets of 5, and then even if the 3rd set already fails, they still will do a 4th set because they want to do 4 sets within the cluster set. I, however, am doing it a different way, so whenever I hit failure on one of those sets, that's the end of the cluster set, and then I know, okay, next time I need to hit a lighter weight in order to finish the entire cluster set. But hitting failure for me, that is the end of the set, and if I do want to continue to go on, then I would do a 10-25 technique or a rest pause set to be able to go past failure, but that really depends on the type of intensity technique that you are using. But again, this technique I like to use, or other techniques, at least once every workout to be able to really fire up my metabolism and ramp up the caloric demand of my body, which really helps getting lean as well and helps getting more difficult reps in to grow. And of course Dexter is in the gym, so he's also learning very quickly how to get some activity in. He is just very amazing. He, by the way, today as I'm recording this, he is 11 months old, almost 1 year old, which is just amazing. Time went so fast. But anyway, the next movement, the barbell row in the swing machine. And I haven't told you guys yet, of course, but it's obvious that I'm not as strong as normal. This workout is about 3 weeks after completing my contest prep, and during the last week of my contest prep I was weaker regardless, but after having done a contest by itself, you know, one day you're pretty much not drinking any water, that weakens you for a long time. So I just recovered during the holiday by going out to restaurants, eating sushi, drinking lots of water, but I kept to my diet for the rest of the meals, which really did help, dial my conditioning in and keep it that way until I decided what to do. So I first actually decided not to do any show, but so many people told me what's the next show you're going to do, and I just looked at the list of shows that were available and was like, well, we still have some time to improve. All we really need to do is improve conditioning on the back of the body, mainly the hamstrings and the glutes, getting the abs tighter and more defined, and improve presentation. And when that is reached, we're pretty much going to have a very high chance to qualify again. Okay, we just did the swing machine barbell row, which is a very great one for the back thing, especially the lower back. Just the 2 working sets there. Now we're going to do 2 working sets of the cable pullover. You can use a rope or a bar, and I personally like the bar more right now because I feel a better stretch there. At the end of the workout, your back is pumped up and then the stretch must be maximized. So let's do this one, the only isolation movement for the back. Okay, it's time for the cable pullovers, the only isolation movement there is for the back. Of course, you also have the machine pullovers, the dumbbell pullovers, and different attachments for the cable pullovers, but the pullover movement is pretty much the only complete isolation movement for the lats, especially hitting the lower lats really well. And an isolation movement pretty much means you're taking out other muscles like the biceps. So the biceps we're not using here, which is important because we want to bring the back to full fatigue without any other muscles helping out the back. And that way you know that you finished off the back completely without letting any other muscles help and, you know, making them fatigued instead of the back itself. And for me, the lower lats will always be a point I need to work on because my lats from the front attach a little higher compared to some other competitors. So what I need to do to improve my physique is make my lats as humanly wide as possible. That's first of all, which this exercise actually helps greatly in, but also thicken up the insertion point of the lower lats. The thicker that is, the more the illusion is given that my lats attach lower, because the more mass will actually be shown on the front poses, because my lats do attach lower than it seems like on the front poses, but it's still, the mass is on the back. But the thicker that mass becomes, the more it will show on the front poses as well. So on this cable pullover, I like to do a little more volume because it's an isolation movement. You don't want to go too heavy because otherwise your form will break down anyway. So the first set was almost 20 reps and the second set is going to be a drop set, as you can see. So first a heavier weight for at least 10 reps, then hit failure and then do a drop set with only a little less weight, so you don't do a lot of reps that are very light, which are unnecessary, just some quality stretching and contracting reps for sure. That's it. Okay, time for the rear delts. Just did 1 set of face pulls with the rope. What you want to do is do at least 15 reps, but if possible do some more. What you want to do is balance out the rear delt movements with the front delt and the side delt to get literal cannonball delts, which everybody wants. You don't want the rear delts to be imbalanced because then you can actually get front delt injuries. So let's do this one always after the back movements. And then the last pretty much back or rear delt movement of the day is going to be the face pulls with the rope. Now you have different variations of face pulls. You can do it on a machine. You can even do it with dumbbells, for example, laying down on a bench. If you do it without involving the fly movement, but I like this the most, and you can see it here. The traps are always going to be involved, but what you want to do is focus on that peak contraction of the rear delts, and the best way to do that is to bring your elbows as far to the side as possible, so as wide as possible, to really get that peak contraction there. And I train the rear delts only once every 2 back workouts. Then we are going to hit the biceps, just a very simple, easy curl bar, just very basic. But for the biceps, you don't need to do any fancy things at all. During my time in Portugal, I literally only did a preacher curl machine at a lot of different gyms, and just some alternating hammer curls or alternating dumbbell curls, and that's it. The biceps really don't need more stimulation than that, but when you have all the tools available in your own favorite gym, you of course start to use some different things. And for me this is pretty different because I don't do this exercise quite a lot. I like to do it on preacher curl a lot more, but doing this one every now and then feels great as well. So what you want to do is really control the motion on the way down, because more and more research and literature is stating that the eccentric portion of the lift is simply very important for building muscle, because only at that portion of the lift, so when you're going down, is when the muscle fibers are stretching. And load under stretch, that is what builds muscle. So you do want to get a full contraction, because if you get a full contraction, the muscle is fully shortened, and the shorter the muscle is, the more length can be stretched out, so the more you will grow. And the biceps are simply very important to control, because the biceps themselves can take a lot of beating, but the tendons, they cannot. So the distal bicep tendon, which is the tendon that attaches from their forearm to the bicep, a lot of people tear their biceps there, and that's the nightmare of every single bodybuilder. So what you don't want to do is overstretch it or go through a pain barrier there, because if you do, the inflammation will increase and the irritation of the tendon will increase, and I've actually had to deal with that for many months in my left bicep, and then the weight you're able to lift is very low and it's just demotivating, and you get a lot of irritation even on the back exercises, like every single pull down is impossible. That is not a world you want to live in. So what I did, I fixed it with higher reps, lower weight, a lot of stretching, not under weight, but simply stretching on a pole, for example. And of course, a lot of collagen, a lot of omega-3s, curcumin, just to get the inflammation down. And after a few months, it slowly but surely went away. So anyway, this is the last movement. Again, a very easy and basic movement, which always works to build those biceps. But because it's a basic movement, it doesn't mean that it's easy. You have to use full range of motion, you have to use a full contraction, and when you hit failure, look at the grip change. You can see that my hand, if you look at the dumbbell, is now on the inside of the dumbbell, which means that if I do the twist, more weight of the outside of the dumbbell is now on the opposite side, which means my hand can twist more easily, which allows me to actually go past failure for a few reps, which is amazing. Alright guys, that was the back, rear delt and bicep workout. All very safe movements at work that I've been doing throughout the entire year. And right now it's all about keeping strength up and possibly increasing strength throughout these weeks until I do my next competition, which again, I'm going to aim to be a lot more conditioned in the places I need to be, like the hamstrings and the glutes and the overall physique, and a bit more full because I weighed quite little on stage, at least 2.5 kilos less than I'm allowed to weigh. So we'll see what's going to happen. I'll take you through these weeks to show you exactly how I'm planning to be better on next stage. So thank you for watching this workout. Okay, just got home, just had a whey isolate shake of about 50 grams of whey isolate. And now it's time for the post-workout meal, which is a bit different from usual. Let's check it out. So this is the post-workout meal. It's just a soup. It's zucchini and garlic and broccoli soup with nothing else in there. Of course, prepared in the crock pot. We also have some steamed parsnip in here, which I'm going to be adding. So this is the highest carb vegetable there pretty much is. Parsnip around 79 calories per 100 grams. So not using any rice, not any direct carb sources, because I'm going to lower the carbs for a few weeks to make sure that I get as conditioned as possible. And we also added some 250 grams of codfish to this to make it a delicious post-workout meal, but I will add a nice kiwi. Let's enjoy. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching the video until the very end. That means you're a true Vintage Genetics supporter. So I've been starting up my coaching again, and I'm looking for a few people to work extra closely with in the Vintage Genetics Transformation coaching group. So click the link below in the description to be sent to a messenger link, and in there we can chat about exactly what all the coaching is about. Thank you very much for the incredible support. A lot more content is coming, and don't forget to stay golden.